Hello, everyone. So, did you know that Albert Einstein was an INTP, 5-wing-4, 594, ILE, RCUEI, LVEF when it comes to his personality? And no, I'm not just saying random numbers and letters, and I'd say, based just on that sentence, you're probably very excited about this TED Talk, or you have no idea what I'm talking about. Now, as you know, personality is a combination of one's qualities and characteristics. Everybody's personality is different. It's unique, because it's impossible to have all character traits matching with someone, even if you think you two are so alike. It's much like with fingerprints or snowflakes, where it is physically impossible for them to appear the same. However, when it comes to humans, a scientist named Isabel Briggs-Myers determined an algorithm of grouping people into very similar personality categories. It's difficult to talk about something we can't imagine, though, so let's give you guys an example. Do you have any historians in the room? But actually, I think everyone would be able to recognize that man, but if you do not, don't worry, because I'm not 100% sure I would. Anyway, that's Napoleon Bonaparte. And these funny letters are his personality type. And E stands for extroverted, N is intuitive, T is thinking, and J is judging. His type is called commander, which he undeniably was. This type is natural leaders, people who have very clear goals, sharp-minded, and in need of a challenge. Now let's take a look at a type completely opposite. Marilyn Monroe, the icon, whose type was ISFP, introverted, observant, feeling, and prospecting. This type is adventurers, people who are very curious, captivating, and a perfect balance between flexible and grounded. Personality types can mix and merge to create the 16 different types. It's pretty cool, right? But what about it? Well, first of all, it's so much fun. Once you get comfortable with personality types, you can guess a person's type based on their behaviors and values, and therefore explore them a bit. I also feel like I have to give you this trick, which has been repeatedly said by my friends. Before an exam on a set book for school, they research personality types of the characters and get to know them from that perspective. And it's a lot more effective to remember that way. The website to do so is called Personality Database, if you're interested. But mostly, it allows you to explore yourself, because people really like to pretend like something is happening or proceed to completely ignore it. They're brainwashing themselves into thinking they're somebody else. And that's exactly what I did. About 3 or 4 years ago, I was first introduced to the MBTI, and being very curious in general, of course, I decided to determine my type. I did some personality tests, and while being aware that the tests aren't always that credible, when I got the results and I read the description, I thought, wow, this is oddly accurate. Yep, that's who I am. Open-minded, check. Free spirit, check. Longing for meaningful connections, check. Empathetic, check. Check. Was I right? Yes, but I was also extremely wrong. See, I would have been about 12 when doing this, and you need to know I had a really strong need to be unique, but at the same time to fit in. The thing is, I really wanted to be empathetic, and while I have some empathy in me, of course, I'm not a psychopath, I also sometimes find it hard to sympathize with someone if their experiences are completely different from mine. That's what I know now, but then I just really wanted to help people, and I thought I could relate to everyone. And well, it wasn't true. Writing this TED Talk, I actually realized it was similar to when you have a crush on someone. Your brain makes this idealized version of the person you like and 100% believes it. You think it's a match made in heaven. Only when you get over it, you realize you're actually very wrong about them and they were actually somebody else. And it's not that I quickly realized my wrong. No, for over 2 years, I was going around, and if somebody asked me, I would tell them my incorrect type. After maturing a bit and really understanding my personality, I've come to terms with the fact that I'm not a feeler. I'm more logical and rational, and even though mostly chaotic, also organized about things I care about. Since we've had our fun and are excited to get to know other personality types and group our family members and friends into those, we can get to the deeper level. Not being able to determine who you are is much more common than you think. It happens all the time, but can take different forms. Do you know how sometimes in class, students are asked to write a list of their good and bad qualities, or the things they like and dislike about themselves? or if they're somewhere new and the instructor tells everybody to introduce themselves. Teachers sometimes look at the youngsters thinking they're not creative enough, are lazy and not willing to make an effort in class. But in reality, telling people who you are can be very stressful. Think about how many times you've noticed a person who just goes blank after this type of question, or maybe this person is you. Personality types can create a journey from being miserable even to being able to grow as a person. And yeah, that could really help out with this type of situation. Of course, it's not simple, but if you tell it to yourself several times, it won't be simply difficult, it will be impossible. The topic of self-progression and growth is not unknown for you, that I'm sure of, since it's become very popular in the media. However, the society really doesn't seem to like people getting comfortable acknowledging and talking about their feelings or fears. I've seen some discussions about whether or not men were becoming more emotional these days. They're not becoming more emotional, it's the fact that they finally feel safe enough to say anything about what's going on inside their heads. Can you imagine a man in the 17th century coming back from battle to his wife and crying? The times were different, and fortunately, these days are over. But yet, some people still can't accept men being vulnerable and being human beings. How mindless is that? And it's just the tip of the iceberg, the societal pressure. When you've studied your type, you can see how each one creates a separate community, both on the internet and in real life. It can really help you feel more understood and less lonely, since you're basically talking to different versions of yourself. Maybe even it will bring you some long-lasting friends who normally you wouldn't hang out with. So, to sum up, getting to know yourself, your personality, will lead you a great path, I'm telling you. It doesn't even have to be the MBTI, there are many other ways to explore it. At the end of the day, the only person who will stay with you for the rest of your life is you, so in my opinion, it would be best to get to know that person. Maybe you've been pretending to be somebody else your entire life, and you're interesting. Now that you've discovered your sense of self, you're boring, bland, you don't hang out anymore, that's what they tell you. But you don't need them to tell you anything. Just stay true to yourself and let me know how it goes. Thank you.